I'd like to talk for a couple of minutes about the difference between living for a flood of appreciation versus drilling down deeper to develop our own character and resources. You might be at a point in your life where you had hoped that by now people would appreciate your experience, your expertise, maybe come running to you for advice or seeking wise counsel. Parents of teenagers, for example, live under this delusion quite often. The point is that sometimes this might happen. Sometimes you might even think you should be famous by now. Well, this does happen to some people. But for most of us, the reality is that we have to drill down instead of looking for the flood of praise. The fact is that a flood of appreciation, if we define ourselves by that and inflate our egos by it, will easily deflate us as soon as the praise or the appreciation evaporates and moves on, or the crowd forgets about who we are. We need instead to develop the inner resource more deeply: skills, relationship ability, the ability to love people, whether they love us or not, because so much of praise is temporary. It may be that someone or a group of people love you for a while, but if you don't do what they want or say what they think, then in fact they may reject you. So where you define yourself has a bearing on the decisions you make and your self-image and a whole list of things related to who you become. Several miles from the farm where I grew up, there was a large alkali lake. It wasn't really a lake at all. It was really just a shallow basin of land into which runoff water would flow in the spring. And then through the hot summer days, as the water would evaporate or leach away into the soil, it would leave behind a white, caked, useless piece of land. Meanwhile, across the road, maybe several hundred meters away, was an artesian well, a flowing well as we called it. The water always was gushing out of this well that drew from deep beneath the surface. And the grass around the opening, the wellhead, was always lush and green, by contrast to the dead-looking land just across the road several hundred meters away. The point is that if we depend on floods for our well-being, eventually the shallowness of that will evaporate. But if we're drilling down and deepening our character, deepening our faith, deepening our resources, we have something to offer people, whether it's appreciated by the crowd or not. Those with a faith reference point can see in this something of Jesus' words where he said, if you believe in him, rivers of living water will flow from within. So there is that continual resource. For all of us, the point is that as we deepen and continue to grow, skill level, character development, new understanding of how our world works, and so on, we become people that are more in line with what we are created, called, and gifted to be, and we are happier as well in being ourselves. Also, the upside is, as we develop our character and deepen in our own souls, the people closest to us are the ones who benefit the most, like that grass around the artesian well, whether the crowd notices or not. All the best to you on this best day of your life.